Bill Shankly used to say, the only thing that surprises me about cup football is that people are surprised. Let's see. These are the latest scores in most cases. There's confirmation Arsenal actually winning 5-1. Aston Villa 1, Millwall 1 is the latest score. Steve Hodge scored for Villa. Everton 3, Blackburn 1, Hull 2, Brighton 3, Luton 4, Bristol Rovers 0, Manchester City 1, Watford 1 are all latest scores. Notts County 1, Tottenham 1, that's a final score. Clive Allen got one there for Spurs. And another latest score, Peterborough of the 4th Division leading Carlisle, bottom of the 2nd Division, 1-0. Reading 1, Bury 1. Bury had taken the lead there. Sheffield United 0, Derby 1 is the latest score. Southampton 5, Orient 0. That's a final score now. Wigan 2, Southampton 2, Wigan 0 rather, by the way. And Sunderland 0, Manchester United 0. Still latest score at Roker. West Ham 0, Ipswich 0. York 2, Altrincham 0. The last of the non-leaguers go out of this year's competition. Well, the other headlines before we get thoroughly involved in the Cup today. Athletics, Seb Coe and Zola Budd feature in the first indoor meeting of the winter. Seb doesn't win, but Zola does. Racing, Dawn Run, the Gold Cup favourite, falls when well clear and odds on at Cheltenham, but he's OK and finished in 4th place. Now the Cup, and the Cup holders, Manchester United, were away to Sunderland, runners-up in the Milk Cup last year, always to be reckoned with on such occasions. But United had their driving force back today, Brian Robson, but not for long. He wasn't injured again. He was sent off. That's the big story of the day. Tom Tyrrell at Roker Park.
They don't come any more sensational than this one, Elton. Brian Robson, the England captain, sent off in the 78th minute after showing everybody that he's back after his long absence. It was a rather sensational intervention by the linesman that did it. Referee Colin Seal hadn't seen a clash between Robson and Barry Venison off the ball. He spoke to Robson, then sent him off. The cup holders are up against it. Memories of the cup final came flashing back. Sunderland had been forced back for most of the game, suddenly came alive, and a last-minute miss by substitute Howard Gale almost sewed it all up. But it's a replay next week at Old Trafford, and Brian Robson will now be hanging his head in shame in the dressing room.
Sensational stuff then at Roker Park. No surprises at all at Highbury, as I said earlier. Arsenal beating Rotherham quite comfortably. Martin Tyler.
No sign of an upset here, Elton, from the 17th second of the game when Rotherham right-back Andrew Barnsley handled a Graham Rix cross. Ian Allinson fired in the penalty. Stuart Robson with a shot which spun down off the bar, over the line and then back out, added a second in the 20th minute. But the new recruit to the England squad limped out of the match in the second half. By then, Charlie Nicholas had struck his 9th goal in his last 8 games, and Graham Rix had driven in a splendid free kick. Tommy Tynan pulled one back for the gallant 3rd Division side before Allinson completed the scoring, which he'd started in that eventful first minute.
Well, what an important game for Arsenal's great rivals Spurs this afternoon. Having lost 3 on the trot at home, they were away to Notts County, who've been going ever so well in the 3rd Division. Spurs got themselves a good result, though. 1-1. Here's Peter Brackley.
And much relief, I would think, in the Tottenham dressing room that they've at least survived what was always going to be a difficult match for them on a bumpy, unpredictable surface. And it was referee Ray Lewis who saved them towards the end when he disallowed a header from David Hunt that would have won the game for Notts County. And then right on the final whistle, Ray Clements produced a brilliant save to deny Hunt again. Tottenham couldn't have asked for a better start, though. A mistake by young Dean Yates, presenting Clive Allen with a goal after only 2 minutes. But County equalised through Ian McParland 20 minutes later, and a game of precious little finesse remained in the balance right to the end.
Well, Aston Villa are another team under pressure in the 1st Division this season. They've reserved some of their better performances for Cup football this season. They've got 25 goals in 8 previous Cup ties. Well, they faltered a wee bit this afternoon at home to 2nd Division Millwall. 1-1 the score, the same as the one we've just heard. This time it's Tom Ross from Villa Park.
Aston Villa 1, Millwall 1. A bone-hard pitch made conditions difficult for both teams, but it was a competitive Millwall side that took the lead in the 8th minute through Alan McCleary. Villa created 2 good chances for Birch and Stainrod before Steve Hodge raced through to score a fine equaliser. Millwall's confidence grew in the second half, but despite creating a number of chances, they failed to find the net in a game best described as a battle of defences. But no mistake about it, Millwall were well worth their draw on the day. Aston Villa 1, Millwall 1.
Thanks, Tom. More news and details to come later, but for now, our classified check on all the football that's been played today with Bob Colton.
FA Cup, 4th round. Most of these matches are not on the pools. Arsenal 5, Rotherham 1. Aston Villa 1, Millwall 1. Everton 3, Blackburn 1. Hull 2, Brighton 3. Luton 4, Bristol Rovers 0. Manchester City 1, Watford 1. Notts County 1, Tottenham 1. Peterborough 1, Carlisle 0. Reading 1, Bury 1. Sheffield United 0, Derby County 1. Sheffield Wednesday 5, Orient 0. Southampton 3, Wigan 0. Sunderland 0, Manchester United 0. West Ham 0, Ipswich 0. And York 2, Altrincham 0. Cannon League Division 1, a match not on the pools, Oxford United 0, Coventry 1. Sorry about the little gremlin that's getting into Division 2, but here it is. Bradford City against Fulham, match postponed. Crystal Palace 1, Norwich 2. Grimsby 3, Stoke 3. And Portsmouth 1, Middlesbrough 0. Division 3, Bolton 3, Walsall 1. Bristol City 2, Cardiff 1. Chesterfield 1, Gillingham 1. Newport 3, Plymouth 1. And Swansea 0, Wolves 2. Division 4, Burnley 3, Hereford 2. Cambridge United 1, Port Vale 3. Chester 3, Torquay 1. Crewe 0, Northampton 1. Exeter 0, Wrexham 1. Mansfield 2, Aldershot 0. And not on the pools, Rochdale 0, Hartlepool 2. Gola League, Bath against Strictly, match postponed. Cheltenham 2, Barnet 1. Enfield 2, Wickham 3. Kettering 4, Telford 0. Maidstone 2, Dagenham 1. Scarborough 3, Kidderminster 5. And Weymouth 1, Stafford 1. Multipart League, Chorley 0, Marine 1. Gainsborough 3, Morecambe 0. Gateshead 1, South Liverpool 0. Horwich against Buxton, match postponed. Hyde 0, Bangor City 4. Rill 2, Matlock 2. Southport against Carnarvon is a late result. Workington 1, Goole 1. And Worksop 1, Mossley 1. Southern League, Premier Division, Bedworth 0, Gosport 1. Corby 2, RS Southampton 4. Crawley 3, Gravesend 0. Fareham 3, Alvechurch 3. Folkestone 1, Chelmsford 2. Kings Lynn 1, Basingstoke 1. Willenhall 1, Worcester 0. And Whitney 0, Fisher Athletic 2. Southern League Midland Division, Bilston 0, Bromsgrove 1. Bridgnorth 1, Stourbridge 3. Coventry Sporting against Mile Oak is a late result. Gloucester 4, Rushden 0. Leicester United against Grantham is another late result. And Merthyr Tydfil 1, Sutton Coldfield 3. Vauxhall Oval League, Bishop Stortford 0, Worthing 1. Bognor 3, Slough 0. Carshalton 2, Epsom and Ewell 1. Tootingham Mitcham 1, Harrow 4. And Walthamstow 0, Kingstonian 1. Scottish FA Cup, third round. Aberdeen against Montrose, match postponed. Airdrie 0, Partick 0. Two matches not on the pools are Broth 0, Clyde 0, and Ayr 1, Stenhousemuir 0. Berwick 2, Alloa 3. Not on the pools, Celtic 2, St Johnstone 0. And Clydebank 0, Falkirk 0. Dundee 4, Morton 0. East Fife 1, St Mirren 1. Hearts 3, Rangers 2. Not on the pools, Kilmarnock 1, Stirling 0. Motherwell 1, Brechin 1. Not on the pools, Nairn County 0, Dundee 7. And Queen's Park 1, Dumbarton 0. And in the Fine Fair League, Scottish Division 2, the games between Cowdenbeath against Queen of the South and Wraith against Stranraer were both postponed.
Right, we'll get some more news and details of what happened in the FA Cup fourth round here in England. Everton's Pat van den Hauwe was in the thick of it at Goodison, scoring after just 14 minutes and then conceding an own goal as Howard Kendall's men beat his former club Blackburn 3-1. As we said earlier, there were also 2 goals there for England striker Gary Lineker. Mick Harford, back for Luton just 3 weeks after a cartilage operation, lost no time in finding the net. His 22nd minute goal set up a 4-0 home win over 3rd Division Bristol Rovers. Sheffield Wednesday showed no mercy for 4th Division Orient. Lee Chapman headed his 14th of the season in Wednesday's 5-0 win at Hillsborough. Manchester City's Gordon Davis broke the deadlock in the all-First Division clash at Main Road with a 53rd minute header, but Watford's Kenny Jackett equalised with a penalty. Mark Lillis missed a penalty there for City. Well, in the all-Third Division clash, the leaders Reading went behind after just 12 minutes at home to Bury, but Trevor Senior got a second-half equaliser with his 20th goal of the season. Glenn Cockrell spared the blushes for the former Cup winner Southampton, who had to wait until the 69th minute to kill off 3rd Division Wigan at the Dell. But 4th Division Peterborough are through to the 5th round. Greg Shepherd grabbed an early winner to put out 2nd Division Carlisle. 2 goals from Terry Connor gave Brighton a 3-2 win at Hull, who came back from 2-0 down to draw level. Millwall's Alan McCleary earned a penalty, replay with an early goal at Aston Villa, who equalised through Steve Hodge. And finally, the only non-league side left in today's Cup round, the Gola League club Altrincham, they went out losing 2-0 at York. We've got the Scottish Cup now, and in Scotland, Celtic, the holders, made hard work of beating...